Hello everyone, I'm the Anti-Fangirl reviewer. I let you know what anime to watch and what anime to watch out for. Well, it is the start of Vic Mignogna Month, really this time, and I'm starting it all out by reviewing an anime that many people, including Vic himself, consider to be very underrated. Is this any good, or does it deserve its place in anime obscurity? I'm here to answer that question. This is Generator Gawl.
Generator Gawl was not based off a manga or a light novel series. It was directed by Seiji Mizushima. The main writer on staff was Fumihiko Shimo, but Mizushima himself contributed to the script. You may or may not know his name, since in 2004 he teamed up with Bones Animation Studio to create, well, this. That's right, Full Metal Alchemist, arguably the best new school anime and one of the most well-known anime titles in the USA today. But back to Generator Gawl. The year is 2145. The world has become a peaceful place, a utopia of technology and science where people work continually to better their society and the human race. This utopia did not arise out of peace, but out of the ashes of the Third World War, which began in 2007. Most of the life on our planet was decimated. The people who survived joined together to create the nation of Kubere. The people were able to survive the harsh fallout of the war due to the work of the generators, a technology left over from the pre-apocalyptic world. These generators are biologically engineered superhumans who would make areas habitable for humans again. But there's more to Kubere than being the organization that rebuilt society. Young genetic researcher Ro discovers the truth after having his suspicions raised because of the continual near-torturous testing that they kept putting his friend, Gawl, who is one of the top generators, through. Ro comes to Gawl and Koji, his fellow scientist, with the truth. He convinces the other young men to travel back in time to the year 2007 to stop the massacre of 90% of life on our planet. When they arrive in the past, Gawl has an unfortunate first meeting with the teenage girl Masami. Gawl is glad to be out of Masami's presence since she nearly got him arrested, but they were destined to meet again since the three boys take up residence as student boarders in Masami and her mother's home. Tatsunoko Productions was the company that created this series. I had never heard of them before, but a quick glance on their wiki entry tells me that they've been around since the 60s and that they provided animation for Neon Genesis Evangelion. And knowing that doesn't come as a giant shock to me since the generators look like they were created with the trace-out designs from the Angels. They're relatively well-made knockoffs, however. The show was well budgeted. Most of the money clearly went towards the fight scenes, which left the everyday life scenes looking like colorful manga. The animation overall just looks dated, not jarring enough to distract the viewer from the story or the characters, but it looks very, very 90s, although the hair designs for some of the girls are just strange. Comparing the voice tracks of Japanese and English is actually very interesting in this case, because for some reason, the English staff decided to rewrite some of the characters. Matsumi is the character that suffers from this the most, and I do mean suffer. She is a tsundere. This is true. But in Japanese, the character has a real charm and sweetness to her. Not surprising since she was voiced by veteran Seiyu Satsuki Yukino.
病院ってどこよ? うちにも戻らないし、学校まで休んで。おかしいじゃない。大家の私にも言えないことなの? 聞かないって約束だけど、限度があるわ。3人とも一体何隠してるのよ。犬屋さん、あんた一体何疑ってんのよ。さっきからそういう目で私を見ていたわけ?
One thing she can do very well with the characters she voices is that she can make them sound genuinely sweet and kind when they need to. There's absolutely nothing phony about it in her performance. I can't say that for Rosie Curtis, who voiced her in English. For some reason, they gave Matsumi this annoying, pushy, overly dramatic undercurrent to her character. And it's in the dialogue that they give her as well as her actual performance. Koji's character is also rewritten, but it's only a minor annoyance. Maybe it's just because Tsutomu Kashiwakura gave the character far more subtlety than Jay Hinkman.
そんなことが許される世界なんてそれに僕はもう嫌なんだ友達をガウルを実験するようなそんなことをもうしたくないんだ
So I'm just gonna get this out of the way and say that the Japanese track is better overall, but don't worry, I have some praise to give the dub. I'm sure people are wondering how Vic Mignogna's performance measures up, especially since I watched the show to review it for this special month.
Did it, Ro? Neither of you have the slightest idea what's gonna happen to your bodies. And you're no good to me dead.
Both of them elicited tears from me. If any VA outshines the Seiyu, it's Monica Rial over Konami Yoshida. What's interesting about this English voice track is that it's packed with people who have fallen into the pit of obscurity, and all the people who I could praise still have careers. So don't dismiss the dub outright, and certainly if you're a fan of any of the VAs, watch it in English because it showcases their talent and glimmering potential. The background music is entirely forgettable, even though it has a diverse sound. It can either be synthesized video game inspired music for the fight scenes, light-hearted electrical guitar for the high school scenes, and sad piano for the touching moments. It highlights the scenes without drawing any attention to itself. I do, however, like the opening and ending songs. And the ending is this cute, endearing pick-me-up from the serious nature of the show. But what about the actual story and characters? Are they any good? The short answer is yes. Now that I've watched this show, I agree that it's underrated. But why is it good? Even great at some points. I refer you back to director Mizushima. What he did so seamlessly with FMA, he pulls off here as well. I think that Mizushima understands both familial and romantic love very well, and he uses that understanding like an X-Acto knife to the heart. He gets right to the love you have for your mother, your siblings, your friends, that somebody you have funny feelings for, and he uses it against you so that you cry openly and curse him for being so damn good at his job as a storyteller. The emotions move up and down. There are the funny scenes with Gawl and Misumi bickering, and there are the scenes where we find out the truly heart-wrenching struggles of these boys from the future. For me, the characters were all entirely understandable in their actions, even the villains, which is exactly what you want for this kind of show. This is a series about war and bioethics. It's really obvious, but what this series doesn't make obvious is what exact message you're supposed to walk away with. And this is a good thing. I think that my point about this show not being preachy is best explained by the ending. But since I can't explain the ending, I'll move on. I will say that it doesn't end like an episode of Star Trek Voyager. And those of you who are Trekkies can feel me here on that one. Does this series have problems? Yes. The biggest problems stem from the fact that it's only 12 episodes. I think that if more money and more importantly more time was spent on this little train it would have been a lot more well known, because the series would have been allowed to have a bigger impact on the viewer than it does where it stands right now. Half-formed potential is sad, but I still give this series a completely deserved 9 out of 10. Recommendations. I mentioned Trekkies before, and I will again, and say that this is definitely a show for them.
Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission? To explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no man has gone before.
Generator Gawl has a lot of what makes Star Trek great. I also think that people who don't like Ava will like this series, since I think that this could be seen in a lot of ways as an answer to Evangelion. Sayonara und auf Wiedersehen, and to my fellow Rangers, Red Dawn.